So we'll be right back right after this. Remember, nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right, with that out of the way, my name is Adam, and this is Marfoogle News. We have a ton of stuff to go over, so we're going to go over that in just a moment, but I do want to remind you of the fact that we actually bibliograph every single story that we show you here today, so you have access to it. It's very easy to navigate our website. You just go to marfooglenews.com, and then once you are there, you will see that it is organized by thumbnail. Just find this thumbnail. Sorry about that. And then, of course, once you click on that, you will see that all of the links are there. Of course, every tweet, every video, every archived document that we show you here today, you will have access to. On top of that, if you do want to support us, we are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. We do not have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. So again, if you want to support us on the right side, our affiliates are there, and even our of Amazon and PayPal link if you do want to support. If not, otherwise, put a thumbs up if you find value in this. We put hours of work into every show. Dex, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother. Dex, how are you doing?
Hey, well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Sorry about that. I ended up doing the intro twice. The button just kept going. All right, let's get right into it. We have a ton of news to cover. Remember, you can get notifications if you're missing the show at marfooglenews.com. We have a Chinese startup, iSpace, fails to reach orbit again with the Hyperbola rocket. Sounds like they're not doing too well. It says the latest failure of a Chinese commercial rocket may point to growing pains as the country opens its space sector to more private participation, according to a news report. It says a flight test of China's Hyperbola 1 rocket built by the Chinese company iSpace was unsuccessful, China's state media outlet Xinhua reported. This is the second failure of this rocket type in less than 6 months. It says a new rocket lifted off Monday at 3:39 a.m. local time on Tuesday, and it says from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. However, following the launch, the rocket did not send its satellite into orbit as expected. The quote around it was abnormal performance was identified during the flight of the rocket, Xinhua said during a brief report. The satellite carried by the rocket did not enter orbit as scheduled. So I already know that people look at this kind of stuff and they say that, you know, China can't even get off the ground and that they're so backwards and this and that. I have to remind people that, you know, China is a very powerful country. I don't think that people realize how much technology they do have now, how much of the manufacturing they are doing for the world. The backwards kind of opinion that China is so backwards. In fact, somebody commented last night, they said, well, if their military is anything like this, the knockoff stuff that they make that comes here, then, you know, then we have nothing to worry about. That's not at all what their military is like. In fact, we've had generals, we've actually gone over the quotes, we've had Northcom commanders basically say that theirs is indistinguishable from ours. They're using the same materials, in some cases even better materials. Not only that, they're going off of our blueprints. There's a thought that the Chinese are somehow stupid when, if you've ever been around any Chinese family or in their culture, it's very important to be educated, and education is one of their biggest priorities. So they are very, very intelligent and smart people. As far as their government, they are all of that and just a little bit of evil. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Not to mention, there's a lot of stuff that is floating around right now about Chinese bots on the internet. That I can see, and I'm already going to predict right now that they're going to be taking off people that they don't want and say that they are Chinese bots. Now, the people can mostly prove that they're not, but they will still have to have the burden of proof to get back on. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. And then, of course, we have the chip shortage is getting worse. The semiconductor supply crunch came for cars and phones. Now consumers are facing higher prices. It says that starting next week, General Motors is again halting the assembly lines of several pickup truck plants because the company doesn't have enough computer chips. The plants had been back up and running for the last week following a shutdown in July, which was also caused by the chip shortage. It says these production halts may stop anytime or may not stop anytime soon. And it says, quote, I do think we'll continue to see an impact this year, and it will have a tail into next year, warned CEO Mary Barra. Now, Dex, we actually kind of went over this, and I know that you're going to be on the phones tonight. If you do want to call in, the number is 224-400-MARF. I want to remind you of that also because we had a previous caller that talked about somebody who came in from, I believe it was the National Transportation Logistics Council or something like that. And you guys can correct me in the chat if you remember that call. Basically said that we have not even seen the beginning of the shortages yet, that we have not seen the brunt of this, that we're actually going to hit way, way worse. Everything that happened with, of course, the ship that got stalled in the Suez, and then even into all of these chip shortages and everything else, the backed up ships, everything that happened, it is not even here yet. We haven't even seen it. We've started to see the beginning of it. You're starting to see empty shelves for retail items because a lot of it is coming from China. We're also seeing a lot of backlash from different places. There's also a lot of really crazy stuff happening with media giants deleting old stories because something is going down. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Dex, as far as this goes, we actually said about 3 or 4 weeks ago that this was going to get worse, and that this chip shortage hasn't even started yet, and now they're shutting down factories. They're not doing trucks. They're not doing a lot of stuff right now. How can they even do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to get worse than this because of the fact that, they are, if they shut down factories, they shut down production. If they don't have enough labor because people are out sick or for whatever reason, right? That's one thing. But you also have this whole shipping problem of getting cargo moved in and around, and the supply chain is just in all sorts of frail right now. So when you add all this together, it's going to be bad, and I think it's actually going to keep getting worse because they keep compounding onto the problem. And yeah, so I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet. There's certain things like you can live without a car stereo right now, but you can't get them. You just can't get them. And there's all sorts of these little examples, but I think those are sort of the writing on the wall, and we're going to start to see the other more important examples of things that we actually need that we're not going to be able to get our hands on.
And as we said before, the average used car, or average any car, really has on average anywhere from 140 to 160 of these semiconductor chips. Now, just imagine if this causes this much problems and actual factories of U.S. companies shut down because of the shortage. Imagine when China actually owns the country that makes a majority of them. Now, they are trying to fix this by making a plant and making a factory that can also produce them, but it's still not going to touch the fact that Taiwan produces most of our chips. These chips are in absolutely everything from your Apple iPhone to your DVD players to pretty much every electronic you can think of. These are the main chips that run all of these computers. So it's unbelievable that they let it go this far, that somehow this is part of infrastructure. I mean, this is part of now things that run our stoplights and things that actually make the world go round. So I don't understand as far as how they didn't see this coming, and how we went so many years getting 90% of our antibiotics from China and getting so much of a percentage of our chips and things like this for infrastructure from Taiwan, when again we should have it diversified. That's the whole point of diversification. So you have stuff coming in and imports coming in from all over the place. This is really dumb. This shouldn't even happen. Cynthia A., thank you for subscribing. Stephen McMahon, thank you for being the last one out. And then Trudy Svensson, thank you so much for being the last one out on DLive. And then we have Inside China's chilling network of AI-generated people on Facebook, Twitter spreading anti-V lies and CV fake news. That's right. Now they, of course, I know these exist. They also have 1 million on their payroll for propaganda. But do you not see how this is the perfect setup to basically wipe anybody? This is the same kind of thing that happened, of course, when we had the Russian bots. If you remember those, they were getting rid of almost anybody. They accused me of being one about 2.5 years ago on Twitter. I actually had to go in and log in and do all the CAPTCHA stuff to get my Twitter back. So it says that China has a sprawling, creepy network of AI-generated people who it uses to spread and fake news about the It says Beijing is believed to use a massive, quote, spamouflage network to muddy the waters and promote its own interests into the unwitting social media users. And its computer-generated people are perhaps its most disturbing tactic. It says Twitter and Facebook profiles are being fronted by pictures of people who simply do not exist, but have been constructed by AI software. These, quote, people have never been born. They are simply bundles of code with the illusion of personality. So we've talked about how AI can now generate people's pictures, and we actually looked, and there's a random code generator. Dex, didn't we actually share the website so anybody could go and make new people? In fact, I think...
there's that. Yeah, we put that one out before. I can find it and we can post it again.
So what you do is you just keep clicking and it randomly generates a new person, and it is probably 1 out of 10 you can spot that it's fake. It is literally so real that you cannot tell a difference between it and a regular person. But here's the thing.
It's real easy. It's called thispersondoesnotexist.com.
Why? Okay, Dex, though, why would they specifically have their hench people or their fake AI people doing that? Why do they not want people to get the thing, right? Or does that set people up so now people are going, oh, well, if it's anything negative, it's a Chinese bot?
Well, or is it a way of trying to say everything that you hear from people out there saying that is not being said by real people, so you shouldn't pay attention to it? There's 3 different angles on this.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like, as far as these AI people, they're gonna accuse real people of being AI people. If you see this, it's gonna be the work of them. They're really pointing us to hate China. As far as now, it's all of a sudden kind of spun into this place. I don't know what is actually going on, but I do feel like we have been completely and utterly infiltrated just by the craziest. In fact, I just saw a movie called The Losers, and I think it's a DC Comics production as far as the where the story comes from. But the main bad guy is a CIA super spook, and basically he wants to start a conflict. In fact, in the movie, they use something which some people say is predictive programming called a snook. It's all the destruction. It's a dematerializer that has all of the destruction but none of the pollution, which I thought was pretty crazy because that is probably something they're going to come up with. Think about if you could have a nuke war without any of the negative pollution or radiation afterwards. Destroy whole cities and then, of course, leave no aftermath. Yeah, pretty nuts. But as far as that movie goes, they had a few things in there that I thought were, kind of like predictive programming, as far as they had like Operation Mockingbird type stuff in there. Really, really nuts. Even though I just said that, I'm probably going to get this thing dinged. It says...
The AI link, sorry, is in screener if you want to show it.
Oh, perfect. All right, so let's pull this up. So you can actually make a person here, and it says this person does
actually, every one of these people you're about to see are the biggest followers of Marfoogle.
Oh, that's right.
Just keep clicking, and you'll see how many there are. It never ends.
Yes, so look at this. These are all of the... Wow, that's incredible. What in the world? So where do I click on here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Just refresh. Just hit refresh, and you get a new person every time.
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. So these are all fake people. What? How do they do the lighting, though? That's what I don't understand. This is set in a very specific place. So this is what we're talking about. That looks like somebody.
Every now and then you'll get a weird one that doesn't look good, but yeah, they look real. And especially if you put it as a profile pic, which people just look at thumbnails, easy to get away with.
This is just so unbelievable. This really is. I mean, like this. That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm really looking at it. They must use pictures of real people and splice them together or something, and then you really cannot differentiate real and fake. But again, since this technology exists, they're going to say that this is where all of the negative, bad stuff is coming from. And talk about freedoms as far as, you know, a lot of people I could almost see agreeing with this. But think about the future of this. If this happens, it's kind of like it's going over a line that really shouldn't go, you know, that people shouldn't be going over, I guess. It says, infrastructure bill would require alcohol monitors in all new cars. I already can hear people basically saying, you know, that this is a good thing. I don't think people realize when you start losing freedom after freedom after freedom, then you really are in a whole different place. Now, nobody says that drinking and driving is a good thing. Anybody that has had a DUI, including myself in 2006 when I was 21, knows that it's the most horrible thing. Luckily, I didn't actually hit anybody, and I didn't do any serious damage. It's a horrible thing. But as far as this goes, putting an actual monitor in every single new car, what do you think about this? I would love to get your opinion on this. You can call in at 224-400-MARF. It says advanced monitoring systems track drivers' blood alcohol concentration and can prevent motor vehicle operation. It says the bipartisan infrastructure bill includes a provision that would require auto manufacturers to equip, quote, advanced alcohol monitoring systems in all cars. And this, I don't think this is like a blow and go or something. How would this even be able to tell that? And would it take your, I mean, how would they even do that unless you blow into the car? Or does it have smelling sensors? Would that be able to smell other things? Would the feds be able to smell marijuana in the car? I mean, what would be next right after this? It says buried in the massive proposal, which is already longer than 2,700 pages, which is, of course, they'll bury it so nobody sees it, is a section titled Advanced Impaired Driving Technology, which, of course, mandates new vehicles include a, quote, system that passively and accurately detects whether the blood alcohol concentration of a driver of a motor vehicle is equal or to greater than the blood alcohol concentration of 0.08, in which case the system would, quote, prevent or limit motor vehicle operation. Automobile manufacturers would have a 3-year grace period to comply with the regulation. In as little as 3 years, if this thing goes through, you will actually have all new cars made with a automatic like blow and go, or I don't even know how they're doing this. This is, what if somebody got in your car? What if you were an Uber driver and somebody gets in your car? Do you have to do something before you drive? But do you also realize what this does? This gives every new car, which all of them now have Wi-Fi capability and all of this, every new car would have the ability remotely for somebody to stop it, or that vehicle would have something built in that could be triggered that stops it from running. Does anybody think about this kind of stuff? What if you didn't drink, but maybe the CIA just want to turn your car off? They probably already can with most, but they're saying mandate every single new car. We're talking about the same technology that's, in these Teslas in every car, whether it be a Hyundai or whether it be a Ferrari. Every single new car would have this thing. We might take drunk driving down to zero, but we're also opening up a door for ultimate control of travel. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Jess, yes, we're actually going to be doing a video on that. Anyone hearing about August 11th EAS test, JB will lock down also possible 5th generation test. No, I haven't heard about the JB thing. So, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. No, I don't know, but we're actually doing a video on that very soon. It certainly looks like this opens the door for mandatory breathalyzer in every new car. It's crazy, said one senior home aide who requested anonymity to speak candidly due to the ongoing negotiations in the Senate. Isn't it funny that they can't even talk? They have to talk anonymously, otherwise they might get canceled or they might get criticized. It says, although the exact type of alcohol monitor the bill would require is unclear, passive alcohol sensors are described in the report by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. MAD, the group recommends driving monitoring systems, touch-based systems that can read your blood alcohol concentration through your fingertips, and air sampling systems that can test and isolate just the air exhaled by the driver. That sounds like a bunch of BS, but apparently that technology exists. Now, if you do want to call, the number is 224-400-MARF. I do want to thank everybody over on DLive. Thank you, Snowboard. Zippy Moons, thanks for popping in early with the Ninjagini. Maui Racing Realtor, we've got Bear Claws over there. We've got Toadman, Ghost Rider, Hopkinson. One on B is there. I Love Jesus Forever, Renegade PD, Frankie74, and Susan Loves Huskies. Hey, Sydney252 and Annette LaPow. It's nice to have you back again. We've got Cab7 Ben just celebrated a anniversary here. Miss Jammer, thank you so much for popping in. You guys you don't have to gift anything. Thank you for doing so, though. And then let's see here. Just to pop open. Cindy B, thank you for heading over to PayPal. I appreciate that. And then Trudy S, thank you so much for your support through PayPal as well. Caitlin RP, sending you some love. Thanks for all you do. LOL, hashtag Reuters. That is hilarious. It's routers. That's right. It's routers. I just said it correctly. All right, Dex, we're going to line up the first caller here, but first I do want to remind you guys right now, on top of any sale that they are running, you can get an EMP shield at $50 off per device. We recommend this, and you guys know why. If you watch the show enough, then you probably know this is one of the biggest threats against our people in our time right now. You can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP to get that discount and protect yourself. You can actually get a device that protects you against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, and solar flares. So if you have a generator or a car that needs this, then I would highly recommend doing it before you need it. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/EMP. You can cover your generators, your cars, your solar systems, even your ham radios. So thank you guys for going and doing that in advance. Again, thank you. That actually gives us a small commission, and it helps protect you. I think it's a win-win for everybody. All right, and then Dex, before I go into Big Brother's U.S. government taps tech giants to build whole-of-nation cyber defenses, let's go over and see if who is on there. It looks like Conquest is calling in from Michigan. Let's get Conquest on the phone. Conquest, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Marf, Dex, how's it going, everybody?
I'm doing good. So what's going on, and how you been?
Been pretty good. Some health issues in the family, but other than that, just been pretty busy.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So you wanted to talk about military aircraft landing on highways.
Yeah, I found out about this, months ago, and I got really excited when I saw your Twitter post, the article about the planes landing on M32, and I was like, I got to do a video on this.
So did you end up getting video of this? I know that you said you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I ended up getting video of it. It was really difficult because they had the highway shut down pretty far back, and there are some crossroads as well, and they had those blocked, but I ended up getting a pretty good view.
Okay, so how long was it? Like how long did this thing go on, and what did it look like to you?
Okay, so we're in Michigan, so it's Eastern Standard Time, and the highways were blocked off at 8 a.m. and the highways were blocked off until 1 p.m. So, and it's right next to my house. It was really cool, and I grew up right here in this neighborhood too, so I knew all the roads to go on to try and get the best view of everything that was going on.
Now, did you actually you saw them taking off and then landing? Of course, can you actually get us that video for tomorrow's show? Is that a possibility, or?
Yeah, the video is up right now on my YouTube channel. I go the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'm kind of explaining what's going on up here. It's called Northern Strike, and it's been a really popular summer exercise that they came up with in 2012. And every summer, halfway through July till about the end of August, we've got a ton of military aircrafts flying around.
Okay, so I'm going to play this. Is there a timestamp that you have? Do you have any crazy music on this or anything?
If you want to jam out to Danger Zone, I saved it to the very end of the video, but you should be good for the whole video.
Okay. All right, perfect. So while we're on this subject, so if somebody is tuning in that hasn't tuned in the last couple of days, we've talked about this. Military aircraft, including A-10 Warthogs, are doing drills on U.S. highways. It shouldn't take too much common sense to figure out why they would be doing that. Why, a lot of people said, why, I guess what's the big deal? The big deal is this is practice for, say, a WW3 scenario where they would have to use U.S. highways as their runways. So say all of the bases were destroyed, this is what they would do. What scenario do you think, Conquest Josh, what scenario do you think they would do or use this kind of strategy? Don't you think that it would be when something went wrong, or?
Absolutely. I was in the military and we didn't really do this sort of training. And it's the first time they made history today right next to my house, which is very cool, but a little alarming. I'd say a WW3 would probably be your best bet as to why they're training here, because you train how you fight.
And since you've been in the military, do they not train for the most probable? They don't just train for everything. They don't spend hours of their day training for, say, a sea, a Loch Ness monster coming out of the water. That's not probable. What they drill for is the most probable scenario. Is that not right, or am I wrong?
Absolutely, you're right on the money. In that video, you asked for a timestamp. If you go to 11 minutes and 40 seconds, I'm actually showing footage of the passing lanes that they used to not only stage the A-10s and the C-146, but they were using that as the runway as well.
Okay, let's play this for a minute. I'm going to ask you to just to stay quiet for a second, because there's no way to separate you. So 1 second. In case you're wondering, we're watching. They are drilling using A10 Warthogs on U.S. highways. They are preparing for WW3. Don't get any other thoughts than that. A10s have a very, very, very signature sound. Well, Conquest Josh, we're going to send everybody over your way so they can watch this entire video, and I hope go over and subscribe. I guess from your perspective, somebody who lives nearby, why do you think they picked that spot? Do you think it's specifically because of the kind of base that's there, or what?
The base that's here is able to land the biggest aircraft that the United States has, and it does not have a lot of air traffic commercially. And then on top of that, I'm not really sure why they picked M32 to do it, but it is within 2 or 3 miles of the base, so it would be convenient. And they have passing lanes right there and everything. The tents that were on the corner there, they had the Lieutenant General of Michigan was there. They flew in on a CH-47, which is the big Chinook chopper. And then if you go to 19 minutes and 8 seconds, I made it just in time to see an A10 take off from the highway. That was pretty cool. So
wow.
I just say that it was just conveniently located to a military base.
Wow, you got some. So they set up here. So this is the timestamp
that's the corner. All the people that are standing on the corner and everything, they had ambulances down there. They had Air Force fire truck. They even had the Wilson Township Fire Department was there. They had the Michigan State Troopers were blocking off M32. And then the crossroads are King Settlement and Heron Road. And Heron Road is the one that they had all the tents and the bleachers set up on the corner.
So, Josh, you know what really what gets me about this video is just watching this right now. This is in Michigan, correct? So,
yeah,
it's just very creepy to me because I can almost see in a future time when we are actually dealing with the WW3 scenario. Say, just hypothetically, we're at war with China and they have taken the coast or something like this. You would see local police, blocking stuff off, and everybody would try to be working together. Everybody would be in this conflict against this other country. Everybody would be separated. I'm assuming that we would have communication loss, and that's another thing. So they're preparing to be separated. The military is preparing to fight with no GPS, no satellites, no communications, no walkie-talkies. They already have a plan for invasion. That's just a fact. They have to do these, war games and these practices. So they're practicing doing this kind of stuff. This shows you that they are really, really serious about this. This is getting closer, and everybody still wants to deny it. I told people I'm not going to change my view. I think that this is something that you can't deny anymore, that they can't call a theory. It's going to happen. I don't know who's infiltrated or who's on what side, but it's going to happen. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So thank you, Conquest, for taking all this video.
Yeah, no problem. There's if you go through the rest of that video, whenever you get a chance, timestamp 25 minutes and 5 seconds. I knew somebody who was actually right next to the road, and they sent me footage of the A-10s taxiing on M32, and they're right next to the road. It literally drives right by them.
This is exactly okay. So I don't think people realize how dramatic this kind of footage is, because, or how eye-opening this is. This is a U.S. highway, and that is an A-10 Warthog, which those are specifically meant to back up the very, very front line guys. That is meant to back up our Marine Corps and the Marines that are in the very front line that are pushing the line forward. These come in and they can call them in a second and say, hey, there's guys on that hill. And then this has a 50 cal machine thing, and just bam, 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 and it can knock out areas. This thing works hand in hand with the very front lines. The fact that they're practicing in Michigan, that should alarm you. If people aren't awake yet, then I don't know what to say. We've been saying it for years now, and I think at some point people are going to start waking up. They're going to start realizing how bad it really is, because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to panic. They don't want you to freak out. And I can see the people saying, oh, it's all fear-mongering and fear porn. BS. Get out of here. You can watch something else. You can watch The Bachelor. You can watch Vanilla Ice do a hot dog commercial. Do something else. At this point, we need everybody on board. So there is going to be a reckoning, and I just sure hope we're on the awesome side. Well, thank you, Conquest Josh, and we'll send people over, okay? And we've linked your video so everybody can go check out the entire thing, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Marv.
All right. You have a great night. God bless, and I'm praying for you. All right, and then that video and more will be linked on our website, marfooglenews.com. You can go down at the bottom. If you do want to call in, you would need to call in now at 224400-MARF. That's 2244006273. The number is scrolling down right below me. And then, of course, bring in big tech. Of course, Big Brother, U.S. government's taps tech giants, whole of nation cyber defenses. It says the United States has spent months accusing Russia and other nations of failing to address criminal cyber actors operating in their jurisdictions and launching state-sanctioned campaigns of cyber malevolence. At the same time, Washington has said little on reports of an tech firm's sale of military-grade spyware to state clients. It says the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the primary federal agency tasked with guarding America against critical cyber infrastructure threats, has tapped major tech giants to help it do so. Dex, as our tech expert and somebody who's worked in the tech field as far as with tech companies, what do you think about this?
Well, hello, Adam. You're talking about the tapping.
Yes.
For cyber defense. Yeah. So this is kind of a very scary scenario, in my opinion. If we've talked about these systems being built, when we think about, and I'm going to change the subject a little bit, we think about, social credit score or all of these systems that are coming together that are sort of being able to take over and take control, right? And these are being built by these big tech companies, right? So when we think now of taking on these other things like cybersecurity and adding that into these big infrastructures, right? How does all of these systems start to play together, right? And how do we get to a point where not only are they building stuff, big tech building things to go against cyber, but it sort of falls into the category of, let's weed out the people that are saying certain things, and if you've made these posts or you've done those things, that's all going to sort of come together, right? So it's really scary to think about. It's inevitable in some regards. The technology is going to continue to evolve, and the government is always going to have ultimate authority over it, in the sense that they can wield the authority, right? So and we elect them and we let them. So as much as that happens, then we always have to be on guard as these technologies evolve.
Well,
right?
and then the White House came out and said that they were going to be working hand in hand with Facebook to get rid of posts that they didn't agree with, and all of this. We all know that story. You guys, if you're in the dark about that, definitely check our last week of website news, because this is incredible stuff. Right now, we are watching almost every freedom that anyone has, one by one, disappear. And
you've got major players in here, from Amazon, AT&T, the platform that rhymes with our name, Microsoft, all of these, and I'm sure there's others too, right? They're not named yet, but these and will participate.
Just to name a few: AT&T, CrowdStrike, FireEye, Google Cloud, Lumen, Microsoft, Palo Alto Networks, and Verizon. One of the most rural. I mean, by the way, I have T-Mobile. I've had so many problems lately. My uncle and aunt, when we went on this trip, they had perfect reception, and I found out that Verizon is huge in the rural areas. In fact, T-Mobile doesn't have nothing compared to Verizon as far as when you go out into the sticks. Verizon does. So it's just kind of, I thought of that in the way of how this is going to work and how this whole thing is going to happen. And it's going to happen right in front of us, and we're allowing it to happen. So pretty crazy stuff. Again, that has all of those companies starting off. I can only imagine how many more are going to jump on. Commenting on the new initiative, CISA Director Jen Easterly said that the project, quote, presents an exciting and important opportunity to create a unique planning capability to be a proactive vice reactive. Wow, what a statement. A unique planning capability to be a proactive vice reactive in our collective approach to dealing with most serious cyber threats to our nation. Did anyone understand that? Basically, they're saying this is going to be great. We'll get into everything, and we'll stop the bad guys. Speaking of which, Apple to scan U.S. iPhones for images of, look at this. So something like this, I think that most people will agree with. But at the same time, again, it's like you get the good with the bad. The bad part is that this could open up doors for them just to go in general. It's kind of like what Lisa Marie talked about on the phone, how not only can they pull stuff off the phone, they can push things back on. In fact, upstream surveillance is what a lot of it is called. Apple unveiled plans to scan U.S. iPhones for images of child abuse, drawing applause from child protection groups, but raising concern among some security researchers that the system could be misused by governments looking to surveil their citizens. So think about it. All you would have to do is say that this person questionably has something like that, and then boom, they could go in and monitor for as long as they want. Think about that. This is something that everyone can get behind. Nobody wants to see those kind of things on a phone. Nobody wants that kind of stuff on a phone. And almost everybody that could think about this would go, hey, take that person and take them out back and never let them breathe again. Most people are very, very angry about that kind of thing. So when you put this out like that, it's all about how you put it out. If they just said, hey, we want something that is able to monitor your phones and to scan your phone for anything we want, you're not going to say yes, and nobody's going to support it. And even the government and Congress and senators and everybody else and lawmakers, they're not going to say yes. But when you put it like this, of course people are going to say yes. It says Apple said its messaging app will use on-device machine learning to warn about sensitive content without making private communications readable by the company. The tool Apple calls Neural Match will detect known images of child without decrypting people's messages. If it finds a match, the image will be reviewed by a human who can notify law enforcement if necessary. What if it's just a regular photo of a kid? This is really Dex, I mean, how could you stand against this though? If you stand against this, somebody would go, well, then you support that? It's kind of like what happened with over this last summer. It's like if you don't support a certain agency, then you're against that, right?
Yeah, and it also means your private photos, even if they aren't anything that's illegal, but they happen to look like it from an AI perspective, are going to be given to random strangers to look at.
Do people not see this? Like, how do people not get where this can have a problem? Keen Bean, I don't know if that was a mistake, but thank you for your support today. I really do appreciate you. If it is, just to let you know, it actually waits like a month and a half to do that thing. So to give us super chat. So if that was a mistake, again, you can always contact YouTube. If you meant to do 10, I know that's a common mistake. Please make sure, because I don't want anybody doing something that they can't do. Norfolk is a NATO base, FYI. Keen Bean, thank you for the support, though. Either way, regardless, I appreciate your support. Lady T, Adam, you and Dex are amazing. Thanks for all you do. Machina Opus from Australia says, did they increase the chocolate ration again? By the way, love how you did 1984 as your donation. I get where you're going there. Orwell, right? And then Lucis O'Burns says 322 found. Look to Omaha 4. I guess because I'm hosting and I'm not thinking 322 found. Look to Omaha. I'll have to figure that out. Lady T, thank you so much again. Stephen McMahon says the steel, the furniture, and the few cars China makes are junk. Not saying they are paper tiger, but the fear is hyped. Oh, I get what you're saying, Stephen. I get it. No, but they make a lot of that stuff. But again, that's not the same as their military. Again, that's totally different story. Where they spend their money, they're trying to get the most profit as possible. They're not, I guess on the stuff that they're selling, that's one thing. But the stuff that they're keeping for themselves, it's kind of like, oh, well, we'll sell you crap, but we're going to keep the good stuff for ourselves. And that's also Chinese companies that are allowed for regular people to run, and then they feed a percentage up to their, daddy country. That's not directly the government that's sending out knockoff, toys or knockoff furniture or knockoff whatever. That is a company that's underneath them. As far as the actual government, they are dead serious about being the most powerful superpower in the world. Ilea, what if they bust parents for having innocent pics of kids in the bathtub or something? Super lame. Ilea, I get where you're coming from. That's actually already like not a thing. I had, pictures of me splashing around with my cousin or something when I was like 3 or 4 years old. That kind of thing isn't even cool anymore. I'm actually surprised they showed that in the kids movie, Boss Baby. They showed, it was a cartoon animated thing, but I'm actually surprised they showed them do a picture like that, because I had the impression that that's not even okay anymore. Now, kids, when I was a kid at the beach, you would see like little kids running around, just willy-nilly. Now that's such a no-no. You don't do that. It's just such a different time. Even from when I grew up, I was born in 86, so not that long ago. some of you are saying, oh, you're young, right? I'm 35 and I've already seen the world change so drastically. And I guess some could say that it's because, as we grew up, it's not like there was any less creepers back then. It's just that now it's so much more, we have so much more knowledge about it, and so much more knowledge about some of the evil and devilish stuff, because we all share we all share information on the internet now. So everybody knows what kind of groups of people are out there, and that's why we're all scared. It's really, really, really sad where our whole world has gone right now. Podcast fan says, got a 25 spot for you, Dex and Marfoogle, getting better and better. Well, thank you. McVin Sickle says, thank you, Adam, for helping us see what's going on. I've been getting prepared for a couple of years now because I listen to you. Blessings to y'all. I just hope that everybody takes $5 a week and puts it into extra water, extra food. There is no downside to that, especially just saw something on Twitter, and it says, it was this meme that basically says $999 for, to start a business. Oh, that's too much. $999 for a new iPhone? No problem. It said, another hour watching Netflix? Oh, just one more. An hour learning a new skill? Oh, that's too long. Do you get my point? Basically, that we make excuses why we can't do something. Even if you have $2 a week, that's 2 gallons of water that you could add to your stock. That's $2. If you have $2, you could add 1 can of food that lasts 5 years and 1 gallon of water. Think about that. That's $2. Anybody can do that. So again, I think that there's no downside. You're going to end up using it during a storm. You need to always replenish it. If your last power outage, or if you're in California where they literally did rolling blackouts and they knocked your power out by force for 7 days in some cases. Why don't you have power? I mean, why don't you have water, and why don't you have water? Why don't you have water, and why don't you have food? You guys all get what I'm saying. Kate Paul, thank you from Canada. I appreciate you, and always try to make sure to leave something there so I can get to know you more. Russia to hold back-to-back East and West military drills with China. Dex, is it me, or do we have a 17 time zone drill going on with the U.S. and every country and every ally at the same exact time that Russia is going to be holding this giant drill with China and Belarus?
I mean, at this point, are we not like in literally in some sort of, dance of a conflict? Because if they're doing a drill at the same time we're doing a drill, it just keeps going. It's every day, every week. Oh, they're doing a drill. Oh, we're doing the biggest one. Now they're doing one, and now we're doing one, and we're doing it at the same time.
I don't know. I as far as this, there's room for accidents to happen. What if they're in the same area, or they don't let each other know, and they're firing off stuff in the ocean and they accidentally have a U.S. boat drive by or something? I don't know. I do know that any of these drills can turn into something more. Obviously, we know from history that they have actually used drills as a cover to start conflicts. They'll go in, or they'll do a drill, and then something will happen miraculously to one of the ships by another ship that just happens to be painted like the enemy, and then boom, you've got yourself a conflict. Go golfing and with your Tonkin trucks. Zippy Moons, we've got Snowboard in the house. Thank you guys, everybody that's supporting over on D-Live. I really appreciate you guys that have stuck around. Grace for you too. Lisa K23, thank you so much. Thank you for all you do to bring us the real news. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate you. And Release the Quacken. Miss Jackson. Again, Miss Jackson, town in UP, Michigan, making submarine boat parts as well. Up Michigan, making submarine and boat parts as well. Miss Jackson, let me know if you have something. Email me, adam@marfooglenews.com. Lynn's over it. Hey, nice to see you. Mrs. H, Carolina Roots, Smoky Mountain Rhonda. We've got Ollie X Rebirth. Thank you for following. Susan Rhodes just followed over on D-Live. Carrie Ray, Scooby-Doo Do-Right, and Stone Fanatic. Lots of really great people. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. Vibron, Heaven's calling. It's nice to see you here. So long you've been here. Now, just to give you a little bit backside, it says Russia has planned 2 back-to-back military exercises involving tens of thousands of troops across its eastern border, western borders alongside China and Belarus. The first exercise is called Zapad Interaction. And if I don't know if Joseph is watching, but Joseph, man, if you could go into what this could possibly mean, or West Interaction, 2021, and was scheduled to begin Monday at the King Song-Zia Joint Tactical Training Base in northwestern China's Ningxia Hu Autonomous Region. So they're actually calling it West Interaction. Dex, did you catch that?
Well, yeah, and I don't know if it's because they're doing something on the west and the east, or is it something more telling than that, right?
Well, they call us the West. I mean, a war with the West. I don't know. It says the combined maneuvers were announced jointly last week by Russian and Chinese militaries. So just announced last week. So that's okay. And we're set to feature up to 10,000 personnel and various weaponry and equipment from both sides. This just so happens to coincide with like August 11th EAS, with all of this other stuff that's going on. It's kind of weird. And then excuse me. Then it says the official Chinese military online published a report Thursday detailing the preliminary training of troops from Russia's Eastern Military District who have already arrived in China to meet counterparts in the PLA Western Theater Command. It says this will be the two nations' 4th consecutive strategic exercise together and the first to be held in China. Taking counter-T-ism and stability maintenance as the mission scenario, the Zapad Interaction 2021 or West Interaction joint exercise will see Chinese and Russian troops. Gosh. Jointly carrying out strikes against T forces in mixed groups, the Chinese military said. And I wonder if they're going to have a bunch of white guys dressed in Elvis clothes or something to represent the T forces. And then, of course, the Special Operations Forces from both sides will complete the task of seizing the high ground and trench in accordance with the pre-plan and then carry out the task of penetrating the enemy in depth. What a way to describe it. Beijing and Moscow have intensified their military technical ties in recent years and emphasized their bond over the past month as the pair celebrated the 20th anniversary of the Sino-Russian Treaty of good neighborliness and friendly cooperation. Yeah, they're just a bunch of Mr. Rogers over there. Today, China and Russia are closer than ever and look to actively demonstrate that unity as they tackle international issues together. So I'm trying to I was trying to see what the other one was. Okay, and then it says starting on September 10th, another set of exercise called Zapad will take place in Belarus. The drills are set to involve some 12,800 troops, mostly from Belarus. This will include 2,500 Russian units from the Western Military District and 50 from Kazakhstan's contribution to the Collective Rapid Reaction Force of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, an alliance that includes all 3 countries. So obviously they have a lot of drills planned and starting right, in this next week. Speaking of drills, you know the drill. If you have not protected yourself against cyber threats, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go over and check out Nord. NordVPN is not only one of the highest rated virtual private networks, it is also one of the easiest to use. You literally just download it and use a toggle switch. Flip it on and off just like a light switch. Again, that's special savings code Marfoogle if you want to save upwards of 70% off or more. Again, that also helps us with the commission, and you get a huge discount at the same time. NordVPN can protect you. It can protect your IP address, linking to your real address, as far as cyber criminal crime and identity theft. It's something that everybody should have right now. Plus, you won't be data logged by other governments or countries or your neighbor. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/VPN. Okay, let's get the next caller on. It looks like we have Tuck Pup. Long time. Let's see here. Plastic resin shortage and paint. What is going on with that? Let's get Tuck Pup on the phone, also from Michigan. It's a Michigan night.
Hello.
Tuck Pup, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Adam, how's it going, my friend? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, what's the deal with the plastic resin? I haven't heard of this yet.
So I was in Michigan for a long time. I'm now in Minnesota, but I still got family back there. Anyways, I have been doing a lot of painting. I started a painting company up here about 3.5, 4 months ago, and I've been, in that trade for 5 or 6 years. And I caught wind of a paint shortage was basically all I thought it was. Particularly on flat paint, and I buy Sherwin-Williams stuff, right? And the first explanation I got from that was, oh, well, a plant burned down in Texas or something. And then just the other day, so I've been struggling with that as far as the business side of things go. You have to jump from one store to the other store, and didn't really think too much of it, and said, oh, okay, well, there's a chemical shortage of whatever. I was in Menards yesterday, and I was looking for little ice cube maker trays, like to, put the water in and put them in the freezer. And the guy at Menards actually told me that it was a chemical shortage from a plastic plant, and because I couldn't find them anywhere. So he kind of turned me on to some information that I got to reading on, and then Dex actually sent me the best article that I had found while I was talking to him, and it makes perfect sense. The polymers that are produced down in Texas primarily, and then down on the Gulf Coast, the polymer plants got knocked out in back in February when it froze over, and then we were dealing with limited power coming into Texas, and then obviously due to the other thing that we're facing that we got to cover our faces for, basically shut these plants down. And so, and I as I've been sitting here on hold, I thought about too, over the winter, I couldn't find, I've moved a couple houses. I couldn't find any plastic Rubbermaid totes or the Rubbermaid Sterilite drawers, because those are all plastic injected, plastic molding injection, polymers, polypropylene, stuff like that. And Texas actually, Business Insider said 75%. Another article I read said 70%. Another one said 80% of those polymers, United States used polymers, are produced down in the Texas area. So just another interesting shortage I thought I would make the fam aware of, that I kind of got some reasonings to. So
I just wonder what else this would I'll just read a little piece of this. It says a shortage of plastics could force a fight for materials among retailers, car makers, and more from after this Texas storm, which again, that was the big freeze, upends manufacturing. Now, everybody kind of knew that it was global news. In fact, it even made news. Our Australian and UK friends were looking at Texas because it was a big deal. It froze over and people lost power for days and days, if not in some cases weeks. It says that the plastic plants are still recovering from the winter freeze that struck the Gulf Coast last month, and it's leading to rising prices and a shortage of materials from everything from homes to cars to smartphones and face masks. Also I would think that toys and things like that and stuff like anything that uses plastic. I didn't realize that this was a thing. It seems like everything has a shortage. I don't think we've seen the worst of it. Do you?
I certainly don't. And again, like I said, I was in a Target, of all the big box stores I seem to be going to over the winter. I remember it vividly because I wanted one of those. It sounds so petty, but I wanted one of those 3 tall plastic drawer things. Right, I keep all my amp cables and stuff like that in there, and I couldn't find them for the life of me. And then just yesterday, I ran into the same situation with ice cube trays. Right.
By the way, I saw those 3 drawer things, and this stands out because we were organizing our house before our trip, and I could not believe how much they went up. These little, 3-foot 3 drawer things are now like $35 or something. They used to be like $7. Like, I don't know. They used to be $8, $10 maybe 15, but it was like $35 for one. And that was at Walmart, like rollback prices and all that. It's like, that's not cheap. Right.
No, it's oh man, it's just another thing. And I think that, I will hand it to you guys and to anybody who's new here. I haven't been so much in communication on DLive, but I've been watching you guys consistently. I remember when you guys called out the big thing that we're still dealing with and gonna probably deal with some more repercussions of that's coming up, making us cover our faces. I don't know. Everything you guys put out there has came true as far as what I've seen and the information that you guys get from the viewers and that we give each other in the Foogle fam. So, I'm glad I could contribute tonight, and I'm really grateful for what you guys do and doing your best to keep people informed. And yeah, man, I think we're going to see a lot of things change. So,
well, Talk Pop, you're right about that. And if you're new here, we actually talked about CV all the way back as far as September, which now, again, what's so funny is now that all this new stuff came out. I don't know if you guys have heard the new news, but a lot of stuff came out about the LAB in China, and they say it was out as far back as September of the year before, right? And until January is when everything hit. Well, in September, that's when we showed you all these weird WO things saying that the next big demic was about to happen. And that's why we told you, we said, we see the signs. There's all these things everywhere. You need to stock up on face masks. You need to get ready because we think that there's one that's going to be happening. And then I followed it all the way through, including visiting the first ever U.S. patient. I went to the hospital, and I was in that parking lot asking nurses what was up, and they didn't even know the patient was there, or they said they didn't.
And Marf, I remember one of your guys' thumbnails from those early videos in September. It was a guy. It was looked like a zombie with a gas mask on, and I think the background was green or something. I don't know. Anyways, I can remember it like it was yesterday, and then I remember telling my dad in late December that it was going to come here, and I think first or second week of January you guys did a show on it, and yeah. So anyways,
it's a trip.
I don't need to take up
no
time,
well, we didn't know how right we would be, and it's not a pat on the back. It's more of like we're just trying to gain some respect as well, because we are, we can't always be super serious, and we've got to have fun doing this, but at the same time, I guess it's always in question if you're a creator or if you do this kind of thing. People always question if your morals are good, or if you're just doing it for money, or if you're just doing it for this. I guess, I suffered through so many months of going negative money-wise, and, now it's better, but it was like for a whole year I did this with no money coming in. I did this by myself. I did it from my car. I did it, and there was nobody watching. There was nobody watching. I did streams to 25 people. I did streams to 10 people. Some of them are still here. Like Kenneth H was my 5th subscriber. He sat with like basically a group of friends. We were all just hanging out. So just understand that like I would be doing this whether you guys are watching or not. This is the stuff that I would be looking into. This is the stuff I would be asking family about. This is I reach out to military way before this. I think military are the key to this as far as the little pieces all over the place, because they're going to be the first ones that are gonna know about all this. And that was true with this other thing. So thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you. And Tuck Pup, thank you for sticking around for so long, okay?
Yeah, man, it's good to talk to you guys again. Much love to everybody, and thanks again for everything you guys do.
All right, you too. All right, and then we'll get back to the news. Let's see here. Boom, boom. I'm actually quite curious. I think I know exactly which one he's talking about, but I wanted to see this one. So I here's a little secret if you're new. We put a lot of stuff. I make every single thumbnail, and I usually hide some, little things in there, and I try to get communication through these thumbnails. So if you've ever noticed, I actually sometimes, if it's something serious, I'll put it in the thumbnail, and I'll try to use kind of a puzzle, or if I can't communicate it otherwise. So this is, let's go back to at least a year ago. Back here. Check this out. So if you look at all of these, I was not, back then, I wasn't afraid of it because it wasn't a filter word. Pandemic, right here. If you look at the date of this video, it is all the way back in September or October. We even put a link to get disposable masks, and people gave us crap, so we took it down. November 3rd, people were in Seattle mapping with masks. They did a huge drill with 100 people with gas masks. That was this video. This is, again, before all of that. And it said, proof, this is huge. I said, proof, they know something is coming. So, not trying to pat it back, but we do have a lot of new viewers every single day. And we're saying that conflict is coming soon. I hope people listen. All right. I don't think there's a downside unless you go crazy with it. So this is just covering this. It did happen. Obviously, we had our caller. Again, A-10s as well as C-146 Special Operations Transports have been flying from a highway in Michigan as part of a larger exercise. There's so many exercises going on right now. It's crazy. So we actually got better video than any of these articles could have given us from, of course, Conquest Josh. You guys make sure to go love mob him and give him tons of subscribers so he can get to 1,000. Actually, he already got to 1,000. Either way, get him to 10,000, then get him to 100,000, then get him bigger than us. He deserves it. U.S. Air Force A-10C Warthog attack jets have been operating from a strip of highway in Michigan today as part of a unique road operations drill. The first time this has been done in the United States. This is the first time ever. This is history. Why are they doing it? Well, I'll let you decide that in the comments down below. Let's see here. Video is posted online today by the Michigan Air National Guard's 127th Wing and Michigan Department of Transportation, MDOT, show A-10s and C-146 landing on and taking off from a stretch of the Michigan State Highway, M32 near Alpena. It says the highway was expected to be closed off to traffic for 5 hours to allow the A-10s and C-146s to operate there. The drills are being organized by the Michigan Air National Guard and are taking place as part of the wider Exercise Northern Strike 21-2. Northern Strike. Think about that. Northern America. First strike.
They expecting something to come in from Canada?
I don't know.
I mean, that's where they're up. They're up there in the north. Right there in the middle.
Yep. I don't know, but I do think that if people can't see the writing on the wall, then they need to be smacked in the face. Like, this is, well, they're going to be smacked in the face. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to call it fear-mongering, fear porn until it happens. Just like they called when I did that pandemic video, everybody gave us crap. Dex, you were with me. We were on the phone. I was like really distraught for an hour. And I think even back then I was talking to the mods and everybody was giving us crap. Everybody was giving us crap. And then now look at us. Now we're 2 years into a pandemic. And everybody that did listen, they had supplies at the very beginning of it. When all of the shelves are empty, there were countless people that called in and said that they bought stuff, that they didn't have any problem finding TP because they had stocked up on it. They had all the food and water. They didn't need any of it. They didn't need meat or, canned foods. They had it. So I hope people are going to do that again for this next one, because this next one's this is as real as it gets, people. How much more warning do you need? How much more common sense do you need to see this coming? Is ready to attack. Of course, if you're new here, we try to stay away from those. As Defense Minister says, we need to take military action. This is playing out exactly as we said. They're going to get public support. They're going to push for this, and they're going to strike something. Again, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You can have that debate somewhere else or down in the comments. But as far as this goes, they had a ship taken. There was 7 ships, possibly an EMP that was done underwater. 7 ships, 6 of them lost power. 1 of them got hijacked and headed back towards the I country, right? Ran to the store. Then magically, without anyone dying or anyone being arrested publicly, that ship got returned. So again, this is all tied into a huge billionaire guy that owned this other ship. That it's all one big movie. Magically, they get it back. My point is, it's like, oh, so it got jacked, which gives them more than enough reason to put it out there that, hey, we just need to go take military action over there. And they magically get their thing back. I don't know. I have questions. Along with the U.S. and U.K. have blamed and I'm not saying that these guys are innocent. I just think the whole thing is a circus. For the attack on the Mercer Street last week that killed 2 people, has denied involvement. Is ready to attack. Yes, Gantz told Yannette on Thursday. So if they do go to a full-scale attack, this is also something that fits into this whole WW3. It's like they're trying to come up with the first strike, something that would start this whole thing off. It's crazy. It says we are at a point where we need to take military action against What have they been doing? Dex, aren't they taking military action every time they shoot back and forth?
Certainly, and it sounds to me like they're wanting to take a larger action. And I've even heard in some circles they've talked about what level of escalation it could be, and even all the way up to the nuclear level, which is just a lot of hyperbole coming around. But still, it is well known that has got that, right. And then
is basically they showed off a few months ago. They maybe they saw this coming. They showed off their big bunkers and an underground city. They called it an underground city of missiles, of EMP weapons, of nukes, of all of this stuff, right? They've got all these weapons. And if they're saying that they're going to strike them first, possibly if they have the technology to strike back, we're talking about some major stuff going on right now. How long will it be this dance back and forth? How long will it just be, one little missile here, one little missile there, 100 missiles here, 100 missiles there? Now they're talking about sending over the big boys and sending over the big boys. This is some insane stuff. Apocalyptic scenes in every direction. Raging wildfire destroys much of Northern California mountain town of Greenville. Ilea, I don't know if you're still here, but is this what you were talking about with your nephew or something? You said you called a family member and they had a fire. In Astrum, did you cover the video by Francis Boyle last March, the human's right lawyer that found the connection for gain of function? If not, you should. In Astrum, I don't know. When you put it like that, I don't remember if I did or not. I don't think so because I can't remember. Backwoods Ingenuity, you exercise because there's an end goal. Readiness. Ready for what? They say train how you fight. You do the math. Live free, travel light, and work hard. Exactly. Keen Bean, get your stuff in order. They're going to shut us down, Marf. Marf can't say it, but I can. Well, I just said it. But you're right. James Fox, thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting everybody that has supported independent media tonight. Thank you, guys. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't have... You guys are our backbone. So thank you for helping support us, not only for the show, but us in real life. We have families. Thank you for supporting us. Mary B., Stephen McMahon, Tina Sunshine, thank you for subscribing. Mary B., thank you for your support. We want to expand, and we need to do it fast. I don't know how much time we have left. Release the Quacken, Miss Me V2, and then release the Quacken again. You give us the news that the talking heads won't. Release the Quackens, thank you, and Dex for the grunt work. Thank you. Lots of love. Thank you, Release. Tuck Pup says, yes, so awesome. Thanks again for all you guys do. Moz7, thanks for following. McSteelsy, thank you so much. Miss Me V2, and Gem. Thank you for basically making it to... I don't know if you've missed a show. I honestly don't. That is so cool that you have pretty much been here every single show. Honestly, yeah. All right, and then... Yeah, this fire is pretty bad. It says a wind-driven wildfire tore through a Northern California mountain town, leaving much of the downtown area in ashes, and crews braced for another explosive run of flames in the midst of a dangerous weather. The Dixie Fire, swollen by bone-dry vegetation... Let me make sure this is not cut off, and of course it is. And 40-mile-per-hour gusts raged through the northern Sierra Nevada town of Greenville Wednesday evening. A gas station, hotel, and bar were among the many structures gutted in the town, which, of course, dates to California's gold rush era and has some buildings more than a century old. It said, quote, "It left apocalyptic scenes in every direction," said CBS News' Bradley Blackburn. "We did everything we could," fire spokesman Mitch Matlow said. "Sometimes it's just not enough." As the fire's north and eastern sides exploded, the Plumas County Sheriff Office issued a Facebook post warning the town's approximately 800 residents, "You are in imminent danger. You must leave now." The 3-week-old blaze, well over 435 square miles, burning dozens of homes before making its new run. So, hopefully it does not get bad. I think I saw Leah again,
Adam,
talking about the fire. I hope that everybody is okay with that, or that everybody makes it out okay.
Absolutely. Hey, scroll down, way down in that article, you'll see a photograph.
Yes, I was hoping it was going to be on a new tab, because you really have to zoom into this one. Look at this. This is a century old or better. I mean, this is a little town. And it's done. This is very weird. How did is that a metal bench? I'm assuming that's a metal bench. But don't they usually have wood? Kind of reminds me of another fire. It says a bench stands outside the scorched buildings as the Dixie Fire tears through Greenville. That's really, really sad. I actually do want to like look if this is... That's a brick building too. Huh. Yeah, you can just see like it's like a movie set where they've got a fake wall that just falls over. But that's all that's left of the buildings. Pretty crazy stuff. Looks a lot like that other place in California. Dex, let's get the caller lined up. First, we're going to talk about wealthy people are renouncing American citizenship. Are you...
Oh, they're going somewhere, right?
Where are they going? That's the good question. Number of Americans with assets over 2 million who have renounced citizenship. Okay, if that's not a sign that we need to get the hell out of here, then I don't know what is. These are the rich. These are the elite. They're getting the hell out. And it's not because of T-Man, right? It says the number of Americans who have renounced their citizenship in favor of a foreign country hit an all-time high in 2020. 6,707. These are all people with a ton of money. It says, while the numbers are down this year, that's probably because many U.S. embassies and consulates remain closed for CV, and taking this grave step requires taking an oath in front of a State Department officer. Why it matters, the people who flee tend to be ultra wealthy, and many of them are seeking to reduce their tax burden. New tax and estate measures proposed by the administration could, if implemented, accelerate this trend. The big picture, only the U.S. and Eritrea tax people based on citizenship rather than residency. For most countries, if you are a citizen but don't reside there, you aren't taxed in that country. So, Dex, do you think this is all tax, or do you think there's something else here?
Maybe they know something, right? Maybe they know something, and maybe, hell, we talked about the Deagle report, right? Maybe they're working their way out before something's about to happen.
I would like to cross-reference this. I wish we could see where they're moving. If they're all moving to Australia, or if they're all moving somewhere, like New Zealand or something, then I would be really alarmed, because that's or Greenland. Especially if they go to Greenland. If they're all heading to Greenland,
NZ is the place that most are going, right? At least as far as it's even in those circles known as the place to survive.
Yeah, that's creepy. Well, we'll of course follow it and see if any other data comes out. But as far as it goes, it's pretty simple to see. I mean, once you renounce, you can't get it back, right? Aren't you permanent?
I think there's a process, but
the same
but you're
process
pretty much
like
done.
anybody else, right?
Yeah, you got to start over.
Once you renounce, you have to do the whole process. You can't just run across and go, hey, I'm here now. Yeah, because that's what they actually sound like that. Any person crossing our border, I'm here. Ha ha. My 8 kids are right behind me. All right, let's get into it. Let's defrustrated. Crazy that we keep seeing the same pictures in children in need. Save the children. Luke Irwinski says Central Oregon Coast food delivery crisis. FSA canceled all deliveries. Cisco, no new clients. McDonald's wholesale, no deliveries, no drivers. Head on a swivel. Central Oregon Coast food delivery crisis. FSA canceled all deliveries. Cisco, no new clients. McDonald's wholesale, no deliveries, no drivers. Head on a swivel. Okay, Luke, I don't know what. Can you send me why you know that? Because Cisco is, of course, the company that supports all these all these big corporation food industries. You're saying that they're not taking any new clients. FSA canceled all deliveries. McDonald's wholesale, no deliveries, no drivers. Head on a swivel. That could be, shortage related, or driver shortage, or staff. I want to know more. Luke, please email me, adam@marfooglenews.com, and then also copy it over to dex@marfooglenews.com. And then Sack909 says, I was told by someone I know, but I can't say who, but was told to get water, food, and ammo ready. Well, that's all right. I believe you. I've been told by many of those people, and there's too many to name. In Astrum, again, thank you, and Keen Bean. Over on DLive, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you. Release the Quacken, Tuck Pup, Gem, Miss Me, V2, Mixed DLZ, all of everybody. Snapper B, thank you for the lemon. King 5563, thank you. Death by Sonar, Corp, and Maui Racing Realtor. Thank you, everybody. All right, let's see here. Let's get our next caller on. Looks like we have.
Hello.
Trish, a.k.a. Bunnyha. What's going on? First-time caller talking about burning amphibious ship in San Diego and the Mandela effect. What's going on?
How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing great.
You doing good?
Yes. So
good.
Glad you called in about this.
Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm sorry, we might have a delay. Actually, I'm calling from San Diego. I'm a hairdresser by trade, so I speak to a lot of different people. And shortly after that whole incident had happened with the ship on fire, you know, I had been talking to her, and she started to tell me that her ship that she was on was next to that particular boat. And she was actually supposed to be on board that day because they were about to go out. And she had mentioned that what ended up happening in the center of the ship, there were 3 large explosions. She proceeded to say that the fire had burned so hot, that's why they could never put it out. They had to just let it burn out. Now, where I live, I'm about like 7 or 8 miles from where it was docked. And I'll tell you, the chemical smell was nauseating. You just couldn't get away from it. It was very, very bad. And they kept saying, oh, the air is fine. But it was terrible.
Now you're saying that they had 3 different. So here's one thing that a lot of people think, and this is kind of including myself, that this may have been something from space, as far as like a space-based laser or something that heated up or maybe possibly hit something. At first they said that there was no accelerant. Now the official story is that this 21-year-old kid that does TikTok does not look like a criminal mastermind, that's for sure, after watching some of his TikTok videos. They say that he hated the Navy and wanted revenge, so he ended up lighting a fire and matches and all this stuff. And a lot of stuff is coming out, like the DNA of whatever it was that started it supposedly doesn't even match his. It sounds like he's... Right. Some think he's a patsy, right? One thing that I want to point out is that this ship, the USS Bonhomme Richard, that has now been retired because it burnt to just crisp, this was an amphibious assault carrier. Just 3 to 4 months before this, in March, a Chinese amphibious assault carrier, their brand new one, happened to light on fire and stay on fire for 5 days in port. Does it sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And that's what was so crazy, because she had said that it happened in the center of the ship, and there were 2 other ships beside that one, and she said they were so close together, like you can, it's almost like you can touch it, but they're when they're parked in, they're so close together that they were worried about the other ships catching on fire too. But she said that you couldn't even get near the fire because it was so hot. It was burning so hot. It was really a situation.
I wonder what would burn that hot and has just an incredible chemical smell, because you said 8 miles away you could smell it in the air.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Well, I don't know. As far as the official narrative of this 21-year-old kid doing it, what do you think? Put it in the comments below. Again, thank you for calling in and giving us that piece of info. It's all little pieces of the puzzle. You're welcome. That's why we have to
absolutely
communicate.
Absolutely. And then I have one more thing, if I have a little bit more time. I just kind of wanted to bring this up. In the last year, I don't know if you guys are all familiar with the Mandela effect, but there was like some weird stuff that's been happening, like in my family, particularly, where it's mostly like around movies or something, where we swear like we've watched things together, and the other person's like, no, I've never seen that before. And we've actually had arguments. My husband and I had argued about a movie that he told me about, and he said, I never told you about this movie. So I just kind of feel like there's like definitely something weird in the air as well, on top of everything that's being thrown at us, you know, with space and, you know, the situation with this, and then the military and all of that. So I just kind of wanted to get other.
I've seriously wondered. I've seriously wondered if, you know, because everybody's feeling like time is traveling faster. And by the way, for anybody that hasn't seen when I was talking about this, I did a poll, and it was like 94% of 10,000 votes, or I think it was 15,000. People said that time felt like it was going faster, and not just because they were getting older, not because they were having fun. They said that their kids experienced it too, that their teenagers, everybody experienced it all the way across, that time and days were just going phew. And on top of that, as far as like Mandela and stuff like this, everybody's had those. If you don't know what the Mandela effect is, look it up. You will freak yourself out, especially the Berenstain Bears or Beringstein, whatever. A lot of those, they really got me. And I was like, okay, it made me start to think, you know, we kind of accept reality as what it is, but think about things like CERN, which governments are behind. You know, governments are paying for that thing, donating to that. And it's like they're trying to find a portal to another world. It's like,
yes,
they tell us, oh, reality is really plain and this, but then yet it's a known fact, or you know, it's a known, we're expected to, you know, go, hey, we're in a floating ball throughout an infinite space that just keeps expanding. There was no crater. It just all exploded, and it just keeps exploding, and boom, boom, boom. And nothing like that could happen. It's like, and we have black holes that suck in everything, including light. We can't even imagine. Think about light. You can't, getting sucked into a black hole. Like, these things are just so crazy our brains can't even comprehend. But yet, when people say some weird thing about Earth, it's like, oh, that's too weird. Or ghosts, or anything spiritual or supernatural or aliens. It's like, hello, look at what we are. Our human bodies are incredible.
I think everybody forgets that, you know, everything has a vibration. Everything is energy, and it has a vibration, and it all syncs together. One of the analogies that I have about the time going by fast, it's almost like if you have a sink full of water and you pull the plug, and the water starts to seep down, and as it gets closer and lower to the drain, it starts to speed up in a spiral. I've been telling my husband this for years. I'm like, we're hitting the spiral. When last year hit, I felt like we were just in that spiral now, and we're spiraling faster and faster and faster. Like it's every day it like blends in. Like I feel like I'm on Groundhog's Day. You know, I never know what day it is. I just feel always discombobulated. You know, so yeah, something's definitely happening in the air. It's like, and I'm one of those people that's kind of intuitive to those things. So you can definitely feel something more is coming, but I don't know what it is.
I know from the day I started this channel that something was going on, and obviously just by saying what I truly thought, it's everybody was thinking the exact same thing. That's why some people succeed and some people don't. It's like, it's really about if you're saying what everybody's actually thinking, and it's very easy to gain, you know, it's very, very easy to see that we're all thinking the same thing.
Yes. And you, honestly, Adam, you have helped out my family and my friends who actually listen so much. I've been listening to you since Tyler from Secure Team suggested you. And, that was like the time where I was like really into like the Mandela effect, and, you know, everything, and things were just starting to happen. And I kind of believe that in 2012, something did shift. I feel like something did shift because things have not been the same since.
That's a really crazy thought.
But thank you.
That's a really crazy thought. And even your analogy about the water and how it gets faster. 2012, we did all think, what if it actually did end? And now we're in a simulation. What a crazy thought. All right. Or something like that, right?
Thank you so much.
All right. You have a wonderful night.
Yeah.
God bless you. All right. Let's, Dex, can you walk me through some of this this online stuff? I mean, there's some pretty crazy stuff here.
Yeah, Adam, absolutely. So if you head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, like Adam showed you in the beginning of the show, scroll down, you'll find a web-only content. Okay? This is everything that's too hot for TV. And to get started, there's a handful of things about some governors, one from New York and one from Florida. Some really interesting commentary there and some really interesting things that are happening there that you guys need to check out. More information on what's going on with the bean counting process that's going to continue, as well as, even some stuff around everyone's favorite doctor out there that we never name, and even a band member who was let go because of his personal choices. Kind of interesting. So go take a look. Everything we can't talk about, we can't cover, and more. So head over to marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail, scroll down to web-only content.
By the way, if he says that there's something worse than the D, then this much I know is very soon they'll tell us that there's a worse one there. The same thing is.
And didn't Gilly tell us there's going to be a second one too?
Oh yeah. And Gil Bates also told us that the lights were going to go out in a way of his very own. He said that we should brush up on summer reading and specifically picked out 5 books, and one of them was sandwiched in the middle, said Lights Out. And if you know what that book is, who was the author again? Is it
Ted Koppel?
Ted Koppel, the famous reporter, wrote a book about how one of the biggest threats is our power getting cut. EMP or some other way to cut all of our power. 90% of us would perish in a scenario like that. That's a real statistic because of water. So that's another thing. Get your water. That's more important than anything. Other than that, though, I just can't warn people enough. Go over to EMP Shield if you haven't already. You can actually protect yourself and at least protect your house, your car. If you don't want to get stuck somewhere, if an EMP hits and you are physically stuck somewhere and can't get home, think about that. Their most popular one is their car motto. You can install it in 5 minutes by yourself. I did it. You should do it. All right, Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I really want to say a big thank you to everybody over on DLive. Great convergence. Thank you for subscribing. Vinny H, or Vin H. Vin High. Thank you so much for subscribing. We're living that TV show, Sliders with Jerry O'Connell. That was actually one of my favorite shows, along with the other one where he had the beep bop remote. Dex, it had the same guy who's now on not Sliders. What was the other one where he always ended up being a different person? Come on, chat. The Quantum Leap. That was such a good show, man. There's not shows like that. MacGyver. There's just not shows like that anymore. There's just no actual, good plots anymore. Thank you, Rapture Girl Now, Alien Prepper, Ricky Spence, Quantum Leap. Everybody right on cue. Joe's Apartment. That was a good one. That had the same guy from Slider, Jerry O'Connell. Saw Michael in 2014. Fringe. I don't think I've seen that one. Reruns of Quantum Leap on Pluto TV for free. Thank you. I don't know which channel's Pluto, but I'm going to look it up. Stargate 1, that was going. Thank you guys. Name in the comments below or in the chat right now your favorite show from the 70s, 80s, or 90s. And you can go back to 60s if you like that I Love Lucy or Green Acres or Dick Van Dyke, whatever you want to name. Gilligan's Island, MacGyver, We got all sorts of good ones. Check out Utopia. If you name your favorite 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s show, then I know that you watched all the way through. All right, thank you. Everybody, love you. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. It's now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. Shoutro. Lisa K, thank you. The water going faster down the drain. Great. Yes, I know. Isn't that a good analogy? Madcat 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Lynn's over it. Thank you. Prepping is a state of mind. Expect the unknown. The Saxon, great point and great advice. And remember, you can jump over to Marfoogle Jams. If it cuts off on YouTube, it actually continues the live stream right over there on Marfoogle Jams and, of course, on D-Live. I was rocking, popping, dropping, doing on down low. I was rocking, dropping, popping, doing on down low. I got a Dr. F. Oh, fire and arrest. Oh, no, we don't stress. It's coming real soon like a sink. Drain in like a water run down the hole. Bring it right back and you already know. Wanna go back now, freestyle flow. With all of my friends. Man, there's a lot of great shows in that chat right now. Marco Chicklite, oh, bring down Gabbaccini and Manny Buzz. Hey, Pam Ridley and Nick Steelsy. I bring it down now so filthy. Brenda Straw, taking a walk down that street with the DS Joe. Hey, with the Angela Webster. Hey, with the Francine Holmes. Hey, everybody walking home with the VT Brian and the clones. Hey, with the sliding GT. Winnie Lou and the Mrs. CC. Hey, with the set foot Bob Stewart. Everybody home. Wow. I said, wow. I said, Mark and Mindy, Mark and Mindy. 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 Pushing on the daisies, stirring by. Going back, and you know how we ride, boy. On preparedness with an R-T-R-3 with the 8-bay-R. Millie on the bomb now, bring down bow. B-bar road and a bing bing bow. Ooby on the plan, damn it. Ooby on the plan, damn it. Be a bad mascot, take the mask off. Be a bad mascot, take the mask off. Gotta bring it down with the great convergence. Jay Han say to bring it down, virgin. Bring down now, everybody got a version. John Doe is really interesting. Ain't sure about the remote on viewing. Spirit of the destiny and gotta get Louis. Bring it back down and everybody glue it. I got the idea, everybody go see her. I bring it down home, I bring it down low. I gotta go up, I show a low low. Hey, hurt, 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 hurt. Said the wall with this holding up action. Going right back down to the section. Everybody gonna get protection. Second Amendment. Whoa, 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 whoa. Gone Girl 777. Gone Girl 777, gonna bring it. I'll bring it back around. Everybody sing it. Hey, we the big bum down. Big bad wolf on the big one down. Hey, 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 hey. Thank you, Keen Bean. Just want to say a special thank you to Keen Bean and, of course, Stephen McMahon, Machina Opus from Australia, and Lady T.
Come on, dance around. Everybody really wanna go back playing. 2D sensing, bad to the bone. This stuff comes on. Everybody's home. Go now. With the big stroke lead. From back down and Cisco speed. Bring it down back with the fifth and the speed. Hey, I've got a big big boat. Gotta bring it down. I'm a see them late and everybody know now. Hey, over on the beat line, I'm drippy on the moves and the beat rolling out. Break now, everybody know why. Going right there, and no way. Cam Dev, a drippy mode, Lisa K, everybody knows you right.
Hey, hey. Hey, with the Pam Man and the Penny Lane and the Nana, hit mirror with the Venus Hill and the diamond on the air. I just gonna bring home a Green Bay lady in the north. I know as the world turns, I know it burns. Not a dipstick going on home. DFW Jackie.